local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler, and as you can see, I'm not here by myself. We've got Eric Goranson joining us here in studio.
Yeah.
I think the last time I talked to you, you were in Vegas.
You got it.
I think so. Wasn't that last week?
That was last week, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. You've been there a couple of times
I
recently.
know, and it all kind of starts to mold together.
But now here in studio, and if this is your first time watching Fox 12 Now live streams every weekday starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, we're on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our app, so lots of places to find us and watch all the different segments and conversations and things that we cover here for this show. But Thursdays at 1:30, generally speaking, are dedicated to Eric joining us here on the show. We're going to get a preview of Around the House Northwest here in a bit, but you always come with some ideas, some things, some tips, some advice for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's what we have today.
Well, today, you think about it, we're getting into spring, right?
Yeah.
Okay, time to dig into those outdoor projects. And
Right.
big ones are going to be, your fence, your shed, that kind of stuff. But before you go, there's some things you definitely want to follow so you don't have to do it twice. Because the worst thing is you come home and see that notice from the city or county or whoever saying you didn't build it right and you put it in the wrong location, and now you got to start over.
That's the worst. Yeah.
It is the worst.
Yeah.
If you don't
Have
get
to tear all
fined,
that-
which is awesome,
Yeah.
but
Still got to tear it down. And yeah, so you don't want to do that. So what do you do to start off just to make sure that that doesn't happen?
Yeah, let's say you're building a fence. First off, you want to jump onto your city, county website, figure out what's going on, and see where you can put that fence and how high. And in a lot of neighborhoods, you can't put a 6-foot fence right across the front of your property. It has to be on the back half behind your house. And so figure out what those heights are. Like, for instance, in my area where I live, my street is one of the exemptions where I could put it at 6 feet, but I had to put it 10 feet back from the property line. So there's things that you can do to maybe manage that. But if I had gone through there and put the 6-foot fence right across and didn't read the little fine print, they'd have been over knocking on my door saying you got to take 2 feet off the top of that thing, which would have been horrible.
Oh, yeah, giant pain. So just go onto the city and the county website. You should go to both.
If you're in a city, obviously it's probably going to be part of that. But if you're in an incorporated area, then check with your county and see what they are. There's Oregon, Washington have their own building permits, and all that. But really, these are the things you want to figure out from your local people.
Gotcha.
Because what the state could say is cool, your local people could go, no go, not in my area.
Right.
So those are the things there. So first figure out what you can do, and then you need to figure out where your property line is. And that can be tough just because, hey, I had a fence there before, doesn't mean that it was always in the right spot.
Right.
I've got a neighbor whose fence is probably 2 feet over in my line, and when we rebuild it, we're gonna have to do something with that. But at this point, it's good. So you wanna go around, and one thing you can do is, of course, it's expensive, but you can get that survey done where the surveyors come out and say, okay, we certify that this is the corners of your property. So then you have that sight line here and there to be able to build that fence.
Gotcha.
So spending that, maybe $1,000 to have somebody come out and do that is going to be really cool. And then you know exactly where your property is. And then you've got something that is, perfect of where that is. And then
Right.
My house, when I went around, I got a metal detector and started looking around for pins because usually there's a metal pin of some kind there. That's where they've done a survey in the past or where when they originally platted it out, you know where it is.
Okay.
So you can go down to your tool rental store, rent a metal detector, try to find it first before you go for the survey. If you can find the pins, you basically know where that is.
So the pin's just going to be in the ground, like buried?
Yeah,
buried down
so
in there?
what I did is I actually jumped on to like Portland City Maps. They've got a thing where if you can find out what your plat map is of what they've originally platted that piece of land out for, they'll have, if there are markers, they'll tell you on that survey, the original survey, where they are kind of. It'll be so much off the road or this off another pin. So you can kind of start to get an idea. So then you can go around there with a metal detector and look for it.
Interesting.
So it could be as simple as a piece of rebar, or it could be something that's got a big, like, certified stamped head on the top of it. But if there's a pin there, metal detector might find it. But if they've widened the road over the years or something like that, sometimes it could be out under the asphalt, then you're kind of out of luck.
Gotcha. Okay, I had no idea about that. So that's really interesting. So that's something, so make sure that you're within your property line.
Yeah. And then sheds are another interesting one too, because you can go up at, like in Oregon here, in theory you go up to 200 square feet statewide, but then there could be residential things in the city or counties that change that. But once you get into that, you can't put it within 3 feet of a property line unless there's a lot of little rules you need to know of where you can put it. So a lot of people are like, I'm gonna put it up against the fence, keep it clean, it'll block my neighbors. Yeah, probably if somebody catches you, they're not gonna like that. So you're probably gonna have to keep it at least 3 feet back. And then you can build them too tall. So you can get them too tall, too big. And for that, you're going to have to go down and get a residential building permit for, which is a whole other can of worms.
Right.
Because now you have to build it as an accessory structure, which might require some engineering, or you'll at least have to have plans. So even if you're buying a kit, just make sure that you can do the right size and put it where it is. Because sometimes you might not want it in the backyard where you're going to put it, because there could be easements. You know, sometimes you've got a power line or a gas or a sewer easement right there that could get forced to get moved later. So you really want to pay attention to where you can put it. Those easements can be really bad, because if they've got to come in there and access something, if it's a utility, maybe it's a cable company, whatever, if you put it on the easement, technically they have full-time access to that.
So they can have it torn down?
Have it torn down, or you have to move it or anything else. So really pay attention to where you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you're on a septic tank, keep it away from that, because you don't want to be messing with those septic fields or putting something heavy on it. So pay attention to where it's going. There's a lot to it, but it'll save you a ton of problems, you know, in the future.
How do you check for those easements to know where those are?
Again, same kind of thing. If you can jump on to wherever you're, you know, go onto your county and take a look, or city, take a look. If they've got the plat maps there,
they'll be on there.
Just jump on there and take a look.
Okay.
You know, like in City of Portland has their stuff, you know, Multnomah County has their stuff, so you can go in and take a look at that. But depending on where you're located, just take a look. You'll find those, and it's tied in. You know, if you go into like, even you can go on places like Zillow, and they'll link you to the county sites if you go on there, and that can help as well. But there's a lot of those on there that really makes it easy for being able to find out and go, oh wow, there's an easement here. Okay, I can't do this, and then you got a pretty good idea.
All right, so some great advice.
When in doubt, call your local building department and make sure planning, make sure that you're cool with where you put it. They're usually pretty easy to help you.
Yeah, they will. Okay, so good advice there. Anything else people should know about? You think?
Yeah, just, you know, look at durability. What are you going to put in it? You know, if you're going to have stuff that you know, how well do you want it sealed up? How are you going to build it?
Yeah.
You know, and with fencing, you know, how much do you want to maintain it? Do you want to go with cedar? Do you want to go with, you know, like one of the new aluminum ones and the new steel? You know, it can be tough. Like at my house, I did a cedar fence here a few years back. Yeah, I got totally karate chopped by limbs. My steel fence, yeah, I broke the limb. It didn't break the fence. So there's some things there, and those can be pretty cost effective either way. So do your research and figure out what's going to look good for your place. All
right, so great advice right there on how to start planning that. So go through those. Anything else? Should we talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about the show. That's,
all right.
That's pretty much before you start getting to construction. That's,
all great things to think about and to go through that stuff. So around the house Northwest this week, what are we looking at?
All right, we're going to start out with a great DIY kind of how-to project.
Okay.
We're going to talk about how to lay tile, how to lay floor tile. So that's the big thing. If you're laying floor tile, there is a lot of new technology out there that makes your job so much easier, which is awesome. So here we basically start out with a piece of plywood, and I show you how we used to do it and how we do it now.
Okay.
There's some big differences in the last 10 years. Technology has gotten so much better. We're not having to use on the floors the hardy backers and those kind of things that concrete board down.
Yeah.
We're now using other products, which makes life so much easier on that. So there's a lot of cool things we can do. Like in that video right here, you got the hardy backer right there.
Yeah.
That's the old school way of doing it. I actually used an Ardex product here called Flexbone that you lay down in the mud right there, and that makes it so much easier. It's thinner. And what that does is that's actually an uncoupling membrane. So what it does is when the wood expands and contracts, it doesn't crack the floor tile. So the hardy backer will move with the floor. This gives you that uncoupling membrane, so you don't have to worry about it. So it'll make that floor last so much longer. And quite frankly, it's easier to use. So
nice.
Instead of having to get out there with a saw and cut it and do that stuff, you can use a utility knife and cut it, and you just lay it down in the mortar.
All right.
So much easier.
And you're walking through that for everybody. So that's one segment out of, I don't even know how many segments. Yeah, every week, a lot.
8 or 9 usually.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
And we talked to these guys that are super cool. Surebonder, they're kind of the king of the hot glue guns. Well, they make them for industry now. So they make construction ones out there. So if you wanted to like glue 2 2x4s together, they've got a hot glue gun, and then they've got them with low temp, high temp, all those kind of things. So
cool.
It's construction grade hot glue, which is cool.
That's fun.
And companies been using these to build like kitchen cabinets and things for over a decade. But they've got some good stuff there.
But now you can get your hands on them. And
super cool.
Nice.
Super cool. A lot of neat new stuff from those guys as well. And then we go out to Nanowall and visit them. They've got a brand new showroom opening up on the 12th. It's their grand opening. And Nanowall is Basically, it's a window wall. So if you think
Okay.
about where you have a normal sliding glass door that opens up and
Yeah.
you've got like half the glass moves, this could be a 20-foot wall of glass that with literally 2 pounds, you can open it up and slide all the panels out so it looks like it's just all open outside.
Oh, cool.
So it basically takes the place of that. So you could have a 40-foot wall of glass that when you want to open it up, there's nothing there. So now your end of your room goes out into your deck and your dining area.
Oh,
and
I
it's
love
just
that.
completely
Sorry,
open.
I get that.
Yeah.
Said, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Like anything open air like that.
Yeah,
you
so
can
they've
make
got a
happen.
showroom
So-
that they just opened up here, that they've got here in Portland. That's North Portland that's open up. So we give you a sneak peek of that before the grand opening.
Cool.
But, cool stuff, and it's so easy and sealed up nice, so it'll take our northwest weather, which is cool too.
Love it. All right, so that's a bit of a preview for this week.
Just a bit.
Yeah, we can't give everything away, but all awesome ones right there. And then for people who want to watch this week's episode.
All right, so this week's episode is going to air Saturday at 10 a.m. on Fox 12 Plus. But if you missed last week's, don't worry. Check out tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Fox 12 Plus. Then, of course, we replay it at Sunday at 6 p.m. and then again on Friday morning at 8 a.m. on Fox 12 Plus.
So lots of opportunities. And then afterward, YouTube and KPTV.com, both those places, they've got all the segments, so you can go check those out afterward too. Hundreds of segments for you to check out. So.
Yeah, and if you got a segment that you're looking through all of our 350 plus videos and you go, hey, I'm looking for something to do this, send us an email. I'd love to do a segment on it. So if there's something that you are missing on there, let us know. We'll see if we can tackle it for you.
All right, so there we go. Send it an email. Get a hold of Eric. Well, Eric, as always,
thanks,
great to have you in here and here back in Portland too. And thanks for everybody watching. Again, this is Fox 12 Now. And I always say this, but I really appreciate everybody who tunes in and watches the show, whether you're watching live or afterward and whatever platform you're on. I appreciate that, but you can get the Fox 12 Oregon app. I always recommend that because it's all right there at your fingertips and you can just hit it and watch whatever you want, whatever segment we've covered. And just like Eric said, if you have something that you think would make a good segment here for this show too, feel free to send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com, and send that in. And, honestly, that's happened, and we've done some segments based on viewer suggestions. So feel free to do so, and we'll see if we can make something happen. But for right now, we'll sign off. I appreciate I keep saying it. I say appreciate so much on this show, but, I mean it. I mean it. So thanks, everybody. We'll be back soon with more Fox 12 Now.